Welcome everybody to this webinar, this Iliad webinar. Today we are going to talk about aquaculture twins and how we can build them with using different components and technologies. We have a very competent panel with us that will present a very exciting twins and the technologies that comes with it. And we will also have a discussion at the end. My name is Bente Lilja Bye. I'm going to be your host as usual and will guide you through this exciting webinar. Before we start, I just want to remind everybody that we keep our microphones off when we hear the speakers. And we are encouraging you to also use the chat to ask questions and comments as you are hearing the presentations. We will not address those until the end of the webinar when we have a discussion part. This is recorded, and you will also get the presentations after we are posting the recording on the Iliad website. So with that, I think I will start and show you the program of today. I'll share my screen. So we are building digital twins for aquaculture, key components and technologies. And the program is as follows. I will give you also a bit of an introduction on digital twins and Iliad before we start with the first aquaculture twin, aquaculture risk metrics in Norway, and that is by Christopher Genillard. We have aquaculture twins for mussels in Italy by Andrea Guglani, and marine spatial planning and aquaculture twins in Hoceima by Houssine Nibani. And last but not least, portability of digital components in aquaculture by Jarl Gunnar Flaten. And then the discussion. So, digital twins, a few words on digital twins. So here you see identical twins, humans. It is my father and my uncle. And the picture is taken here on the location where I'm doing this webinar. And I'll come back to location, how the importance of location. Now, the difference between identical twins like you see here and digital twins, one of the differences is that the identical twins, as they grow older, they become more and more different. At this stage, the parents had to tag them to see the difference, who is who. But with digital twins, we go the other way. We are, as time goes by, we are able to make a much better representation of the reality in digital twins. So during the time of Iliad, the Iliad project, definitions of digital twins have been evolving. And we have this standardization body, ISO, that has come up with this definition that you see here. It's a digital representation of a target entity with data connections that enable convergence between the physical and the digital status at an appropriate rate of synchronization. I would like to add that in Iliad, we are very concerned about the interoperability, not only within the twins, but also between twins, and the fact that they are data intensive and cost effective digital twins. And one of the technical things that we are going to discuss today is the portability, which of course contributes to the cost effective part of the way we in Iliad are looking at digital twins. When we are looking at the components and the technologies of digital twins, I would like to show you here the data pipeline or the digital twins pipeline. It starts with the data acquisition and collection of data. It could be from space or from various sensors. Then you store the data and you prepare the data so that you in the next step can analyze it, run models, machine learning, etc. And finally, you will have to present the result either in visualization with visualizations tools or in tables, etc., depending on what the user would like to, how the user would like to see it. So remember those 4 steps now when we are going to look more closely on the thematic twin of aquaculture. So in Iliad, As I said, we are local twins, and we have thematic twins. We have divided these twins in 12 different thematic areas, and today we are focusing on the aquaculture part. And just a few words on this investment, this huge EU investment. This is an innovation action. In total, the budget is very close to 19 million euros. We are 54 partners from across 19 countries, and we cover actually not only Europe, but also Africa and the Middle East. And you will see here actually an example of portability of solutions in Europe that can be also taken up in Africa, the northern coast of Africa. So with that, I think we are ready to get started. I will give the floor to you, Christopher. Christopher Genillard. He has a background from the insurance industry. He's representing the insurance industry actually, and has been driving the development of this particular twin. He runs his own company and are deeply involved in various aspects of insurance, I would say, and also passionate about Norway and take sabbaticals to learn more about our country. Christopher, the floor is yours.
Hi, thanks, Bente. Thanks for the introduction. And twin, what is our twin? Bente, I hope you can help me share then the presentation.
Yes.
So our twin, Norway, together with Norwegian partners, we've set out, starting from the beginning of the project, I think we've made good progress to identify, map, and monitor the risks in aquaculture. We're doing this in Norway. And what I'll do when we have the slides up and running is run you quickly, 8 minutes, through what is a very ambitious, very large project, show you what we're doing. And our partners, SINTEF, the venerable Research and Development Institute of Norway, Hub Ocean, that are already running an ocean platform. BLB is Bente's company, and us. And so next page, please. What we are, I'll give you the scope. I'll show you who we're building this for. And then into the technology, there's the data requirements, data management, important parts of our work. And then give you the context of this digital twin, show you what we're planning to provide in terms of services via the platform, and then round off with impact, sustainable development goals. So the scope of the pilot, Bente, if you can please give me the next page. The industry, aquaculture in Norway, is very big. After oil and gas, it's the second biggest business. In 2024, around about 11 billion euros, largely salmon, also other fish, are produced, are exported to 45 countries. And then what we see is an increasing risk and hazard complexity, above all driven by the impact of climate change. And here, all sorts of demands are coming from the regulator. And then what is needed, this is our vision, but we share this, I think, with the stakeholders in aquaculture, better predictive analytics to ensure compliance, sustainability, and a profitable future for the industry. So that's the problem. Our digital solution, we want to deploy, and we're in the process of doing that, advanced data technology to gather all relevant risk data on one platform that will become, and here we are, the digital twin of fish farming in Norway. So there's a significant scientific community in Norway working on this. We want to provide holistic risk assessment, looking at every meaningful risk, and then use predictive analytics to identify scenarios that can be mitigated through adaptation measures, or, as in our case as well, purchase tailored insurance. All of this on a platform that is providing software as a service. The next page, please. So this is targeted initially for the insurance industry, and we're working with the world's biggest fish farm insurer, AXA. We have then started interviewing various stakeholders. At the moment, we're still in a one-to-one with AXA as an insurance company, but then as potential customers for the services via the platform, we see risk managers in the fish farming industry, insurers, the aquaculture companies, research institutes, who often don't have access to comprehensive data, environmental agencies, and then what are the needs of these users. We've conducted interviews, we've seen what they're looking for, and that is, of course, what we want to meet by this digital twin. The purpose then to establish a common understanding with potential customers what problems need to be solved and engage with policymakers. Next step, please. In the context then of a digital twin solution, SINTEF, we are the business architects. SINTEF do the data programming and the tech preparation, make the data interoperable in this prototype phase. HubOcean hosts the data and the applications on their Ocean platform. And then all the data that we're gathering is from trusted Norwegian public sector data sources. Fiskeridirektoratet is the authority that looks after fishing generally, not just the fish farming, also the fishing generally. Barents Watch, the Met is the weather office. Sensors, which has been asked about, they are there, they're being tested, but then we're talking about 1,000+ kilometers of Norwegian coastline where the fish farms are located. So we don't have a granular sensor supply yet of data. That's something for the future. So we haven't actually deployed in our service here yet data derived from sensors. What we have done is we've integrated water quality data from SINTEF, from another project in our solution, and then for the technical components, Jarl Gunnar Flaten can later on answer any questions you might have on relating to the technology being deployed. Next slide, please. So that's an idea here of 360 degrees of the data. We have aquaculture production statistics. That's very good, clean data from the managing body of fishery in Norway. Fish health data has to be reported by the fish farmers. We have that. The perils, some of them are MET data, storm surge, oil spill is something we're looking at where SINTEF also has good data, predators, jellyfish, and so on. So all of this ocean data, other related data, relevant data from satellites, site information with the geocoding, all of this can be pulled together. One thing is historical data, but we're looking for near real time as well as forecasted data. So on the platform, we do want to use historical data to model future risk scenarios. And important for us is to have openly available data sources. Next page, please, Bente. The generic platform functionalities that we're offering are dashboards, like you have a Google situation for historical, near real-time and projected data assessment with all the relevant ocean parameters in there. But we plan to add algorithms to automate certain assessments. Then a holistic risk assessment for all aquaculture sites along the Norwegian coast. This would be beneficial, I think, for all stakeholders. And then what we plan to have ultimately is an early warning where we see increased risk developing, and then a transparency through the data for increasing sustainability across this industry, this very important industry. Next page, I think we can then just jump. These are sort of, this is in the dashboard, the specific platform functionalities. So the mapping, one thing, if you want to put a new fish farm into an area, you can inspect sites and locations via the platform in terms of their suitability. We will have historical fish production data on the platform. Partly we have that already, reported by area and municipality. Then the very important for the salmon farming is the temperature of the sea. So you can see that the sea temperatures around the coast of Norway are rising. 20 degrees is the maximum where a salmon is comfortable. So that's a monitoring, sea lice monitoring, together with trajectory simulations for their spreading, windstorm exposure, sea currents that are optimal for salmon farming, and salinity monitoring. So this is underway, this is being developed. Next page will show features that we plan to develop on top, and that is We've had also always this eye on the rigs out there. Obviously, oil spills or a big oil accident is not good news for fish farming. And recently, you might have noticed the shadow tankers that are appearing around the coasts of the Nordic countries. And they are sort of very old ships that could, provide accidents. So we're thinking of looking at them as well. Harmful algae bloom is certainly a big risk for fish farming. Diseases generally, marine heat waves, and then ultimately environmental impact monitoring. So these are all features where scientists are partly working on it. I think the better data will improve the modeling, and then heat maps based on statistical risk and site suitability assessment. Those are two features we plan to have. So summing then up innovative aspects, you can't really find all this data in one place. So if anyone wants to have a really holistic view on this platform along the aquaculture value chain, from suppliers to operators to the insurance industry. Hello. Database decision-making for underwriting the aquashelter business and also for mitigation and adaptation measures. And then this one database to be used by multiple stakeholders, Norway, aquaculture, around the coast of Norway. Then we've just put a page here with the sustainable development goals that this meets. And then let's jump to Bente too, and I think in timing wise, the 8 minutes conclusion. So we have basically started and continue our search for best practice digital risk data. We have classified and prioritized the perils and risks in aquaculture for which such data is required. And we have embarked on a co-design process with the insurance group AXA for a best practice data platform. The purpose being to have a common understanding of what risk management problems need to be solved and visualized. Then with support from SINTEF, we completed an analytical tool for the risk storm, sea surge, sea lice, ocean temperature, and deoxygenation. And then the interoperability with the Edito platform is in progress. And then several stakeholders have voiced their concerns over environmental impairment caused by industrial aquaculture, and this risk will be in our focus going forward. So that is basically a conclusion outlook. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Christopher. It's been a very interesting process and a very comprehensive twin that is in the making here. Absolutely. So thank you, Christopher. We will move on. Do we have Geraldo with us here from AMA? Let me see. Geraldo, are you there?
Yes.
Hi.
I am.
Hi. We wanted.
Yes.
We wanted to, so thank you for joining us today, and for the rest of you, you will know that so Andrea will actually present a digital twin for mussels in Italy, and he's working for this Associazione. What was it again?
Shellfish farmer.
Yes. And you are also representing that and part of the Iliad project. And I wanted, before we give the floor to Andrea, and where he will actually, show us more this digital twin that you are developing in Italy. I would like to ask you a question because I know you have to go quite soon. So we would be interested in learning how digital twins requires data. And we heard Christopher say that quite clearly and listed a lot of resources. So how did you manage to deploy sensors? I know you have sensors that you deployed in Italy, and sensors are really key, local sensors for each of the farms. How did you manage to deploy them and also convince the members to share the data with each other?
Yes, AMA is an association, national association, and the member of the association is Shellfish Farmer. So we work in the pilot to to use a multi-parametric equipment to monitoring the most important seawater parameters like temperature, waves, and pH salinity. No? And this parameters was very important for our member, for shellfish farmer, because it's very important to know the data to know the growth and the quality of the shellfish farmer in production. Because, you know, the shellfish are extensive activity. They are filtrator and they eat the plankton, and we don't take any support, other support feeding. So it's for the shellfish farmer, it's very important to know the data of the water in which there are the breeding. But for these people, it's not easy to understand the data and the evolution, but there is a big interest to improve this set of data, because, for example, last year we tried this multiparametric during the summer on the last years, and you know that in Mediterranean we have a very hard condition, very high temperature, and so we inform the shellfish farmer about this situation, and with the data day by day, and it was interesting to know this condition, because also maybe we have a big problem with the mortality of the mass in the area near Cattolica. And so for our stakeholders, it's very important to have this information, but we have to help this farmer to understand the data and to do some indication about if there are some risk for the product in breeding farmer. So the experiences was interesting, and we monitoring the data for a few months, and I think that now Andrea Guglani can explain better the pilot study in Catholic area for the shellfish farmers.
Thank you so much, Geraldo, for explaining.
Sorry for my English.
Oh, no, it was perfect. It was perfect. So thank you so much for explaining how this was very helpful to have the association, a common interest for the mussel farmers, and changes in the climate, actually, in the environment. You also explained that was one of the reasons why it became more important for the farmers to have this information. That Andrea will explain in more detail for us in shortly. So thank you very much, Raldo, for sharing this with us. Thank you. And so that was a natural segue to you then, Andrea. So Andrea Guglani, he has been developing the technical part of this of a digital twin for mussels farms in Italy, and you are a marine biologist, so a different background than Christopher. So and working on the technical part. So thank you very much, and I give you the floor, Andrea.
Okay, thank you very much, Bente, to invite us at this webinar. I'm Andrea Guglani, and I work for AMA, the Mediterranean Aquaculture Association, and we have implemented a pilot on mussel farming, and I'm going to share my screen in order to present our pilot. One moment. Can you see properly now?
It's not yet in. There you go. Now it's in
Okay.
presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay, as Eraldo say, we had some problem this year and also in the past year with the temperature in the Adriatic Sea and in Mediterranean Sea too, especially in the Adriatic Sea from July to August. The temperature on the sea are more or less near 31, 32 degrees on the upper part of the water column, and in the bottom like 28 degrees. We know this data thanks to the sensor that we put into a farming site in June, and thanks to this sensor, we have a lot of data regarding this particular event of high temperature in the sea. This problem is is a very big problem for the farmer, because when the temperature of the sea is near 28 degrees, the mussels start to die. The byssus of the mussel start to dissolves, and the mussel die and fall down on the bottom, and after that die. So a lot of part of the mussel farming and of the production is are lost, and for this reason we need data on the temperature and data on the status of the temperature and the sea near the mussel farming. Okay, this is the damage that you can detect during a strong event like sea storm or temperature, because there are algal bloom that can damage the mussel, and also the storm can destroy the net of the mussel net, and the product can be lost during this event. So when we have to when the farmer have to ask for one moment, okay, for money to the insurance company, they have to have data on this factor, and for this reason it is very important to have this kind of sensor in some areas near the mussel farming site. So we put the sensor in an area near Cattolica, and we have an headquarter near the sea, where the data was sending during the pilot. We build the pilot on a particular pole, a particular platform on near the mussel farm, because we need a solar panel and other equipment in order to create the structure of the pilot. So we used this structure on the sea in order to implement the pilot. And this is the sensor that we install into the water. The sensor come from Taltech, that was another partner that collaborate with us, and also and they give us all the instrument in order to implement the pilot. This sensor was set up one on the bottom, like 11 meters deep, and another one 3 meters deep. And the sensor are detecting detected some data like temperature, waves, current, and salinity. This was the structure into the sea when we set up all the equipment into the sea. The setup of the pilot was not really easy because we need scuba divers, we need to build a structure on which install the sensor because of the mud, and because we need that the sensor remain outside the mud. But after 2 months, we will installed the sensor. Regarding the pilot, the partners involved in the pilot, we have AMA, Taltech, and Hydromod with Adelio Silva that give us the data analysis models. Regarding the end user, are the mussel farmers, the insurance companies, the research center if you need some data, and the fishing sector and aquaculture sector and maritime sector in general. We use two type of data: real-time data taking coming from the sensor, current speed, waves height, and sea temperature and pressure, and other data coming from the satellite, like sea water salinity, dissolved oxygen, nitrate, air temperature, and water temperature too, the precipitation, vapor river water flow, and the chlorophyll levels. So regarding the satellite data, the source was Copernicus and EMODNet, and other data coming from Odyssea project and from Mediterranean sea waves analysis and forecast. The data infrastructures, one for the real time and one for the Copernicus one, are installed on a dashboard online. We can insert the password and log in, and we can discard all the data relating to water salinity, dissolved oxygen, nitrate, precipitation, and other data coming from the satellite. And Hydromod create this dashboard for us. Regarding the in situ data, Taltech create also a dashboard where we can detect some data like sea temperature, waves height, waves interval, atmospheric pressure, current speed, and direction of the current. This was in situ sensor, so real-time data. So we can combine the real-time data with the satellite one in order to check if the data are more or less the same. What missing now? We have to implement the interpolability with the Edito platform. We want to add some other data like the chlorophyll in the real-time data. We have also to create a marketing plan for the farmers in order to know this equipment and know that they can have this sensor in the farming if they want. Thank you very much. I think I finished. Yes.
Thank you so much, Andrea. A very nice overview of all the bits and pieces and data that goes into to your digital twin. I will end. Thank you for those who participated in the poll I provided to you, and I will share with you the results. And you see, we asked, if you find it difficult to find data for your project, and most of you actually do. So that actually confirms also my suspicion, even though we have so much data available. And that's one of the reasons why, by the way, we are able to make all of these twins now. But still, it is a bit of a challenge to actually find the data you need. And some have not problems, so 27%, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and some are not quite sure. So thank you so much for participating in this informal little poll. And there will be more of them as we move on. But now we are moving to the next digital twin. We are going sailing across the Mediterranean down to the Northern Africa coast to Morocco. And Houssine Nibani, he is actually one of the founders of the AGIR association, where in Al Hoceima. So Houssine, are you with us? We don't see your, I see you're in here, but you are mute and without the camera. Nice. Houssine?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Because
So,
I am in another workshop in Tunisia. So,
okay,
I will
multitasking.
start
Yes.
now, right now.
Yes, we'll see.
Okay. I will try to be very brief. Do you see my screen?
Yes, it's perfect.
So, in fact, we have been very happy to be in the consortium of Iliad. This is another step of evolution of our NGO AGIR, since that we had yet in Odysseus projects, where we have been able to build a marine observatory in the national park of Al Hoceima. In the Iliad twin projects, ocean twin projects, we start to do the smart MPEs management with the aquacultures. So since we had the summer school in Al Hoceima, we have been able to share many things with many experts and the foundation or stakeholders coming from Iliad projects. And so we will try to explain what's our approach, which is more socio development local approach. So we have other indicators to measure our impact locally. So we choose to use the NBA's criteria, but at the same time going inside the very technical and aspects. So I bring the experience that we have in this marine protected area. We have chosen the mussel culture projects that is partially funded also by the ANDA, which is the National Agency of Aquaculture, who works with also with the same local communities and fishermen cooperative with whom we are working. So for the first criteria, which is the engagement of local community, we have been able to work with more than thousands fishermen. Some of those has developed local cooperatives. We are talking about 2 mussel farms and one pisciculture farm. So all the people are engaged since that they believe that, for example, mussel culture is the space occupied by the farm is a kind of no-take zone, since that the activity of fishing is forbidden. This is a real scale of intersectorial aspects, what we can call interoperability, because we have many interactions between economic, social, and ecological aspects. And this creates a real synergy coordinating among the aquaculture farms that are dealing with many problems. So this farm culture contributes for the conservation of the biodiversity and the ecosystem, things that the mussel are filtrating and ameliorating the quality of water. However, this economic side, they cannot yet sell the products, since that the quality of water is still big. This is why the projects of Iliad try to make a mapping of the quality of the water around the NPE's locality, but also around the big dimension, and to see where comes the pollution, and to prove there is a contamination from direct rejects of wastewater. So sorry, I have sorry. What I say, the inclusive aspect it has a real is a real tool for transparency and governance. So we are working with partnership and twinning, not only at the Iliad projects, but also in other in other MPEs in the Mediterranean. So this make a real how to say, sorry, the criteria of equity, because there is a real balance between multi-advantage, because the tools and the systems we have, as you can see in the slide, we have systems, underwater systems, surface systems, the dynamic systems like glider. So using this data, we are trying to measure the quality of the water and to prove from where are the pollution source, to find to work with the other departments of water, for example, water agency, to find other solutions to stop the this harmful activity around the MPE. So since we had the platform coming from Odysseus, now we are working with the local stakeholders, but also local institutions and central institutions to work with this platform. And here is this, I can comment, here I can comment the partnership between ANDA and the Norway to go on these aspects. So at the conclusion, I think that we have this difference of kind of indicators that can measure the opportunity to ameliorate with a near real-time platform to pursue all the to watch and to see which how are evaluating these indicators of threats, and then to have a real adaptive management to find local and on real-time solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Houssine, for showing us also the context of digital twin. In this case, you were mentioning the environmental conditions and also conflicts of interest or competing interest of the same region, and the value of having a twin or digital twins as a tool to evaluate and to make decisions. So thank you very much for that. And of course, the more technical part, for instance, of the technical part, some of the technical parts and components will be covered by Jarl Gunnar coming up. But before that, I will share with you the poll that I did while you were speaking, Houssine. I was asking if you need local sensors to collect data. And I think you showed, both you and Andrea showed that you need local sensors. And indeed, this poll confirmed this need, a big yes, that it is necessary with local sensors. That's the overall. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Always we need the local sensors because the importance of in-situ data is very important to calibrate the quality of information. And so I think Morocco is working thanks to these two projects. Morocco is doing very big things, and but what I want to say also, this is we had the real training in summer school, but I think that we need also young researchers, and because the data, using the data, the interoperability, we can have many other solutions, since that, for example, now we have a real very big harbors. We have so we have lots of new threats, and working on the modelization and is a way how to interpolate all these activities for looking for multidisciplinary solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Houssine, for that. And now we will look more into the technical parts. So Jarl, you are working in SINTEF as a researcher and a hands-on expert on the technology here, Jarl. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Bente. And thanks, Houssine, for a nice presentation. I hope to touch on some of the same points. So I'll mainly speak about this pilot that we made, Sayad, in the fall of 2023, on this Hoceima case. And I'll talk about interoperable and portable aspects of this. And one way I want to highlight that is that we now have 2 more case studies building on the same type of technology after this one we did in the fall of 2023. So that's related to harmful jellyfish blooms along the Norwegian coast, which is a very relevant problem these days, and a future project that we're working on microplastic distribution and drift modeling in Honduras and Costa Rica, so Central America. And I'm going to try my best to stick on time. So like Houssine mentioned, he spoke briefly about ANDA. I just want to say that this case that we worked on was in collaboration with ANDA, who is the governing body who manages and develops the aquaculture along the entire Moroccan coast. They're responsible for marine spatial planning and assigns productive sites to the aquaculture industry. Now, along the Moroccan coast, it's mainly sea bass, sea bream, and croaker, as well as shellfish and algae that's relevant for farming. So these are not the same species that we have in Norway, but nonetheless, we can do transfer of techniques and knowledge that can be applied in these for these new species. And there's an acute need for better tools for assessing what is a good aquaculture site, and so on, like we just, Houssine just discussed. So there are plenty of risks when you're growing an aquaculture industry in a nation. And Norway has sort of been one of the pioneering nations which have sort of had to deal and learn how to deal with many of these risks. So at the beginning of 2024, there were 5 active fish farms, and now there are over 150 planned fish farms in the Mediterranean Sea, and even more fish farms planned in the Atlantic Ocean along the Moroccan coast. Now, more fish farming means there's an increased risk of disease outbreak. That's both, like parasites that can spread from fish to fish, but also bacteria and viruses. And this, of course, is a threat for the farming industry itself, but also for the ecosystem health in marine protected areas such as Hoceima. And the tool we developed here was a prototype meant to analyze and monitor and predict the spread and transmission of disease or these types of parasites between farms and from farms to environmental, like marine protected areas, or more generally to the environment. So let me say a bit about what we've learned in Norway, because Norway is the largest exporter of Atlantic salmon in the world. And the main challenge that the salmon industry faces is related to salmon lice. And the salmon lice sort of grows easily in the fish farms, and it spreads to wild salmon. And this, of course, is a problem for the wild salmon. And for this reason, the industry is heavily regulated. There are strict rules regarding which lice, how many lice you're allowed to have in your farm. And we have a traffic light system which regulates this. So there are 13 areas or regions along the Norwegian coast, and these are separated into, so a region is really, it's very unlikely for disease or parasite to spread from one region to another. So these are self-contained areas, really. And with regular intervals, so every week, a locality has to count their lice numbers on the fish, make an estimate, and there's a specific way of doing that. And based on these lice numbers, a region is colored either green, yellow, or red. And if it's red, then they have to reduce production in that area. If it's yellow, they can maintain their production. And if it's green, they can increase their production. And generally, the lice grow more easily the further south, where the water is warmer, and it grows has less ideal habitat further north, where the water is cold. And of course, there's intense interest from both the government and the industry to have good tools to manage and deal with salmon lice. And this has led to an intensive technological development. Now, if we come back to Morocco, how can we apply these same learnings to improve the growing aquaculture industry? Well, we need to understand which diseases and parasites are most relevant for Moroccan aquaculture farms. Then we need to use tools to predict how these diseases spread, to analyze the risk of such transmission. Then we need to understand the impact of such diseases on ecosystems. And we need to develop prevention and mitigation strategies. And we need to enforce all these things in good relation with the industry, with the aquaculture farmers and fishermen. So for this, to address the second point here, which is one step in the big scheme of things, we proposed this tool, SIAD, which is a drift model that works generically based on available ocean models, and you can tune the particles according to the behavior of a parasite or a disease. So here we have a simulation out of the Burinar aquaculture site, and in green we've colored the Hoceima marine protected area. And so it's just a simulation demonstrating that particles from the aquaculture site will spread into the marine protected area within a couple of days. So this is a 15-day simulation. Okay. And these tools need to be further developed based on the specific diseases, like I mentioned, and we need in situ data to validate the models. So the work is not done, but has begun. I'm going to skip ahead in the interest of time. And once you have the tools well developed, it's also important to be able to use the tools. And for this, we need knowledge transfer and tutorials. So we were discussing back in that workshop in 2023 that it would be a good idea to have tutorials for knowledge exchange on how to use these tools, and once they are in place. And moreover, these tools need to be used and shown to policymakers in order to make good regulations that and lead to benefits for all stakeholders, like Houssine was also mentioning. Okay, so this was what I wanted to say about the Hoceima case. I'm happy to answer questions about it afterwards. Now I want to just briefly cover the two other cases that I also mentioned in the beginning. First one being this harmful jellyfish invasion in Norway. There's a new, since 2021, each winter now, or each fall really, there has been an invasion of increasing size of this new string jellyfish, which is a non-native species to the Norwegian coast. And Norway has not previously had big problems with harmful jellyfish, but of course other countries have. So here we need to look to other countries to learn how to deal with these. And one thing we're investigating and developing is a good drift model for these string jellyfish. You see a picture here on the right. This is a colony that's composed of all these small feathers, which is really one individual. And so this is a harmful jellyfish, meaning it burns, it stings if you touch it, and it comes into, like, a big amount of these comes into a fish pen, and it dissolves, into like a cloud of feathers, which stings the fish, and it can be really harmful if there's enough jellyfish. And so we're working to understand the origin by doing reverse drift modeling based on the observations that we have. And we also want to understand the transport routes and if we can use like large-scale oceanic events to say that, oh, there's probably an invasion coming in a few days and so on, in order to make an early warning system so that you can put in place mitigation measures when you need them. And so I want to show you quickly a drift simulation we've done for a specific site in northern Norway that had a huge invasion of string jellyfish. This is based on a Nordkyst 160 model, which is a high-resolution ocean model. And we're doing reverse drifting here. So here is the site where my pointer is, to the right on the screen. And we see all these red dots here being the reverse trajectory, so a potential origin transport route to understand where are they coming from specifically. And yeah, this is definitely work in progress, but it's very helpful to be able to do these simulations to see what are the correlations and when are they arriving, because we don't really understand this yet. Okay, and for the last case, this is really a work in project, a work in process, progress, but uses the same general techniques. And this is to address and to understand the distribution of microplastics in Central America, specifically with partners in Honduras and Costa Rica. And so there's an increasing knowledge of how microplastics affect human health, animal health, and ecosystems. And we need tools to and protocols to gather relevant data in all places in the world, really, to understand and mitigate the impact. So in this project, we want to establish protocols for water sampling in these countries, and perform water sampling and drift modeling, and to validate based on the water samples that we do. And an important aspect here is knowledge exchange. So what can we bring from we know a lot about drift modeling from the salmon lice case in Norway, and now we're using the jellyfish case as well, and microplastics, of course. And how can we sort of transfer this knowledge and learn from each other through this sort of unified problem that we all face. And here as well, we have a different ocean model covering the Caribbean, but the tools can be adapted to that as well. So I want to say thanks for your attention. And here you have Team 6, which was the developer of the SIAD technology. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jarl. Indeed, it's very interesting to see the development because I remember very well when you started this portability in Hoceima in the hackathon, and a lot has happened since then. And you illustrate very nicely how you can be cost effective and reuse technologies in different places and also for different thematic areas.